So here's the thing about pharaohs that nobody talks about. We see the pyramids. We see the treasure. We see these incredible monuments. And we think, wow, these guys had it made. They were living like gods on earth, right? But here's what's absolutely insane about the reality of pharaoh life. The daily existence of an Egyptian pharaoh was actually a suffocating prison of ritual, paranoia, and mind-numbing bureaucracy that would drive most of us completely insane within a week. I'm talking about waking up every single morning, knowing that literally thousands of people's lives depended on your every decision, and one wrong move could bring down cosmic chaos on your entire kingdom. Let me paint you a picture of what a typical day looked like for someone like Ramesses II. You wake up before dawn, not because you want to, but because the priests are already chanting outside your chamber. You can't just roll over and go back to sleep like a normal person. No, you have to get up and perform the morning rituals to keep the sun god Ra happy, because if you don't, the sun might not rise tomorrow. And I'm not exaggerating here. This is what they actually believed. Then comes the grooming process, which wasn't some relaxing spa experience. Every single item of clothing, every piece of jewelry, every drop of oil applied to your skin had deep religious significance. You couldn't just throw on whatever you felt like wearing. The wrong crown for the wrong occasion could literally be seen as an insult to the gods. And here's where it gets really wild. These pharaohs were expected to be perfect physical specimens of divine power. But the reality is that most of them were genetic disasters thanks to generations of incestuous marriages. King Tutankhamun, probably the most famous pharaoh of all time, had a clubfoot, a cleft palate, and was so inbred that he probably couldn't walk properly. But he still had to maintain this image of godlike perfection every single day. The political pressure was absolutely crushing. Imagine having to make decisions about war, trade, agriculture, and law while knowing that your advisors, your wives, your own children, and even your priests are constantly plotting against you. Paranoia wasn't just a personality trait for pharaohs. It was a survival skill. Take Amenhotep III. This guy was so worried about assassination attempts that he had food tasters, had his chambers swept for magical curses daily, and slept in a different room every night. And he was one of the more successful pharaohs. The unsuccessful ones? Well, let's just say Egyptian history is littered with pharaohs who met very mysterious and very violent ends. But here's the part that absolutely blew my mind when I was researching this. The religious obligations alone would have been enough to break most people. These weren't just ceremonial duties. Pharaohs had to perform complex rituals multiple times every single day to maintain what they called ma'at, the cosmic order of the universe. We're talking about memorizing thousands of lines of religious text, performing precise movements and gestures, making offerings at specific times, and doing all of this while maintaining perfect composure, because any mistake could be interpreted as the gods withdrawing their favor from Egypt. And the crazy part is, they actually believed this stuff. This wasn't just political theater. These pharaohs genuinely thought that if they messed up a ritual, the Nile might not flood, crops might fail, and their entire civilization could collapse. Talk about pressure. The isolation was probably the worst part, though. Think about it. You're literally worshipped as a living god, which means you can never, ever show weakness, doubt, fear, or even basic human emotions in public. You can't have real friends because everyone around you either wants something from you or is plotting to replace you. You can't trust your food. You can't trust your advisors. You can't even trust your own family. Cleopatra, for example, had her own sister murdered to secure her throne. And that wasn't unusual. That was just Tuesday in the royal palace. Family dinner must have been absolutely terrifying when you know that half the people at the table are trying to figure out how to poison you. Now here's what's really fascinating about all this. Despite all these incredible hardships, these impossible pressures, and this crushing isolation, some pharaohs still managed to accomplish absolutely incredible things. They built monuments that still boggle our minds today. They created art and literature that influences us thousands of years later. And they managed to keep one of history's longest-lasting civilizations running for over 3 millennia. But the cost was enormous. We're looking at rulers who sacrificed their humanity, their sanity, and often their lives for the sake of maintaining their divine image and keeping their kingdom stable. So the next time you see those golden death masks or those towering pyramids, remember that behind all that glory and treasure were human beings trapped in a system that demanded nothing less than perfection 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for their entire lives. And that's the real story of the pharaohs that nobody talks about. Not the glamorous god kings we see in movies, but complex, often tortured individuals trying to balance the weight of an entire civilization on their shoulders, while maintaining the illusion that they were something more than human. If this completely changed how you think about ancient Egypt, make sure you hit that like button and let me know in the comments what other historical topics you want me to dive into next. And definitely check out my video on the construction of the pyramids, because once you understand what the pharaohs were really going through, the true scale of these building projects becomes even more incredible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.